Welcome to part 4. So this time I'm prepared. Now what I've done is I've turned on the transmitter and plugged in the battery, and I've put it into manual mode. Manual mode? What the earth does that mean? Manual mode. You'll see on the transmitter it's got red manual. There's a red light there. The reason for that is that I don't want the salves moving while I'm doing this, because I need to take measurements to get the lengths correct. So I don't want the horns moving. But where we're going to start off is you're going to need a soldering iron, which is, I found, is probably the best way of doing this, to apply heat to the heat shrink. So we're going to start off by putting the hook in first that attaches to the servo arms. Now you may want to get a piece of paper, measure out 65 millimeters or 6.5 centimeters lines, and this one's 155 millimeters, or if you like 15.5 centimeters, so you know you got the correct length of carbon fibre rod. So we're dealing with the 65 millimeter to begin with. So you get your hook there, you get your heat shrink, okay, pop it over the top of the carbon fibre and just leave a few millimeters at the top. This allows you to guide the hook into it, and then just get the hook in underneath the heat shrink, about 5 mil ish, maybe 10 at best, 5 to 10 mil. Okay, pop yourself some glue in there. Okay, in fact I'll pop some a little bit further down as well. There you go. And that just easily moves into position where you want it. Now hopefully, I've not checked it, but hopefully at this point the iron will be hot. Yeah, I can feel the heat. And then just apply the heat to the heat shrink. It only takes a few seconds, and you'll see it shrinking. Okay, so that's your first one done. So I'll just repeat that process with the other 65 mil carbon fibre rod. So what we'll do, we'll put a bit of glue on there first. There you go. Grab your heat shrink, slip it over, leave a couple of mil at the top so you can get the hook in. Doesn't matter which way round the hook goes, particularly any direction, because you can turn this. Push that in 5 to 10 mil. Okay, the iron nice and straight, that's it. And just, you haven't got to put the iron onto the heat shrink, just next to it. Yeah, just put it next to it, and that heat will transfer onto there. Okay, and that is basically, that's all it is. Okay, now these are for the ailerons, so I'm just going to put this over there just a little bit so I can get to the model. Now you need to put the model on something that will remain fairly stable. Now the other part of it is you've got to get this horn, this horseshoe shaped bit into the aileron horn there, and because you've opened it up using your 0.6mm drill bit, it should go in just about right. Now, it can be a little bit fiddly at first. There you go. That's now in position. That shouldn't fall out, to be truthful. Now, it's all right, I'm just trying to gather my thoughts. So what you're going to do now is open up the battery hatch, okay, and get yourself some clothes pegs ready. And what you do, you poke the rod through that hole there, okay, and get the hook into the hole like that. It's as easy as that. That's all there is to it, okay? Easy peasy squeezing of the lemon. Now what you want to do now, this is the fiddly bit, get your heat shrink. Try not to drop your heat shrink if you can help it, because they're see-through and they're a little bit hard to find, especially if your eyesight's starting to go a little bit, and you get the heat shrink over the top of the carbon rod like that, and it's best to push it a bit further down. Now what I do like to do is get a little bit of blue paper, any tissue will do really, is just put it underneath in case you drop any glue on it. A bit smaller than that, so it doesn't spoil the wing or anything. Okay, and you get that lined up. Yeah, in actual fact that's probably a little bit too long. I'm going to shorten that down by about 10mm. So where's my cutters? About 10mm. There you go. So I can now bring the heat shrink back up, or apply just a little, oh, lost the paper there, little bit of glue on. There you go. Don't need a lot. Bring up the metal rod. Hopefully you probably spotted what's just happened there. The ailerons just popped off. This would happen while I'm in the middle of things, wouldn't it? No matter, doesn't matter. We're going to put some sellotape on it. It's probably a good thing that happened actually, because you'll be able to see how I repair it. Okay. But for now, we just want to get that hook in. So that's a neutral position. That's it. Okay, and we use the iron very carefully now and heat shrink that down. Don't get this near the foam, it'll melt the foam. Okay, now we're going to repair that. I'm just going to get some sellotape, white one. Right, so if that happens to you, just put a little bit of sellotape on there, and we're going to come back to that because I'm going to show you a really good way of getting that right. But let's move on. That's a good thing that's happened really, because it does show you how easy these things are to repair. So let's do the other side. We've already got this hook on the end, haven't we? So put it through the hole there. Now I'm right-handed, so let me just grab this and into a position where I feel comfortable. There you go. That's in. Okay. Right, so we put our pegs on. Okay. This will just stand still for a moment. There you go, that'll stand still now. Now, let's shorten that down just a little bit. We've got to get the horseshoe part in first. Now then. A lot of modelers won't show you, you know, how they do things like this, because it's fiddly and they want you to think that they're so good that they won't get it wrong. But the truth is that things are fiddly, and if they get it wrong, what they should do is show you how to put it right. And a lot of them don't do that. Okay, so that rod has got to be shortened. So you see, you can, when you put these hooks on, put them further down to avoid having to do this, but with decent, I mean good quality modelling cutters, you can just snip this off. And that's 10mm. Let's put a little bit of heat shrink on. Okay. You just slip it over the end. Oh, I've dropped it. Oh, I've dropped it again. There you go. Heat shrink's on. We're going to, I need this to stop wobbling around. That's better. Put a little bit of paper under there. There you go. So your ailerons are in neutral, your servo is in neutral. So let's get this lined up. Okay, we're going to need a little bit of spot of glue on there, only a little bit. There you go. Offer up the horseshoe, use the tweezers to push up the heat shrink. Come on. That'll do. Apply some heat. And that's all there is to it, and they're in. Now, coming back to this, just to see that it works, see, there you go, that works just fine. Now we've got to come back to this now. So, what you're going to do, we'll turn it on the top, like that. Now, I need something to rest on. If it'll rest on, yes it will. So if you put it into the down position and you get some sellotape, which I'll just get with the knife, I'll just cut a piece out. You'll see how easy this is. just lightly put it over first. Okay, now you want that in the full position down. There you go. So I'll put elastic band on there, so that's in the full down position, and you push the aileron back while it's in that down position, flatten out, sellotape. The reason is, if you just put it on flat, yeah, and that's in a neutral position, it won't bend because it's got no flexibility. Okay, so you rub that down like that. Okay, and then we'll let that off. Okay, and there we go. Now your adjustment is here, but we'll look at that in just a minute. So let's see how it looks. Right, so what we've got to do to bring that fully into neutral, so this has only really happened because the thing's parted, is grab some pliers and you squeeze this together. There you go, it's in neutral. It's in neutral, that's all you've got to do. Check the other side. That needs to be splayed out slightly. It's got to come back in slightly. There you go. Now they're both at neutral. Seems to be catching. No, it's not. It's okay, it's fine. So there you go. That's that done. And then all you got to do is copy that again for the elevators. So now you know how to do it. I'll put these in now and come straight back to you. We're nearing the end of the build. The elevator rods go through that little slot there, and of course this is open, and you manage to hook them onto that one horn on the servo, and then you get the other one and put it on the same horn. It's a little bit fiddly because it's a little bit further forward. Yeah, I had to use tweezers and managed to get them in, but that was probably the hardest part of the build. Otherwise it's a fairly straightforward build, and I think anybody can achieve it. So yeah, I recommend this as a straightforward build. So then once you've got all your elevators in and everything, you can then put that hatch back in there, put the sticker over the top, and you can't see it anymore. So there you go. Then the rest of the carbon fibre rods go into the crease there, like that there. Okay, and then it's just a case of balancing, get the C or G correct. Now obviously you've got your controls here. We've still got it in the manual mode, and if you pull the stick back, the elevators go up, the elevators go down, the ailerons, you turn in right, this aileron goes down, this one goes up, which it does, and the opposite way is left. So your control surfaces are working, your motor's working, and it's pushing air out, and that's good. So now it's just the C or G. Now once you've got your C or G, your model is complete and ready for a maiden. So I've got these two blocks here. That's just to hold the tail end. Okay, and I'll just check that's in view. Yeah, that's in view. So I made this. I use this on quite a few models just to help me get the C or G. Now the C or G is 5mm in front of that main spar, and these are centre of gravity stickers. Okay, so you mark out your 5mm in front of the main spar, and then looking from underneath, you place the model there. Okay, you add or subtract weight to balance the model out. Now this is how I actually physically do it. The two weights you get go in the nose there. I've added a little bit of weight from a lead pellet. It's about 1/4 gram there, because, and I'll tell you why, because if you get it on the bench, you made your little jig, what you end up doing is getting that position like that there, and that is on the balance point. Once you're on the balance point, you don't want it to actually balance. You want it to be slightly nose heavy, ever so slightly nose heavy. Okay, and that will make your model controllable. If it's tail heavy, it'll be uncontrollable. You won't be able to do anything with it. You'll end up crashing it. That's how I balance my models. So I can highly recommend that. As I said, just a block of wood with I think 6mm dowel. And it goes either side of the fuselage, and that's your centre of gravity. And that's how you balance it out. It's really quite simple. So that's now ready for a maiden flight, and I hope you've enjoyed following along and seeing how it's built. And the next one will be part 5 of the maiden. I may actually publish the maiden flight first, just because people are asking me about this. They want to see it flying, so we'll look into that, and maybe do the maiden flight first and then do the build. Anyway, thanks for following along. As usual, I don't get paid for doing this. I don't ask for coffees or Patreon or anything. Just give us a thumbs up. It's absolutely free of charge, and subscribe, and I very much appreciate it. And thank you for taking the time of looking into my world. Thank you very much. Cheerio and goodbye. Happy flying.